There is a room. Room 214 at the Belhaven Motor Inn. That knows things it has no right to know.
Daniel Marsh had worked the night desk for 11 years without incident, without surprise, without anything he would later think worth mentioning. He was an ordinary man at an ordinary hour in a hotel that asked nothing of him except that he stay awake. The Belhaven sat at the edge of a town that no interstate had ever bothered to reach. Thin carpet, thin walls, a smell of old coffee. Room 214 was a corner unit on the second floor, double bed, a cracked mirror, and a telephone the color of old bone. On the 3rd of October, at 20 past 11, the message indicator on his switchboard blinked twice. Room 214. The room had been vacant since Saturday. No reservation had been logged. No key had left the rack. I'll be arriving around midnight. Could you have extra towels waiting? Thank you. A woman's voice, polite, unhurried, the kind of voice that expected to be accommodated. At 12:08, a woman named Rachel Osmond stepped through the lobby doors. Daniel recognized her voice before she finished saying her name. He told himself the phone system had glitched, replayed some old message, and misrouted it somehow. He almost believed that. But when he pulled the records at dawn, room 214 had seen no guest and logged no call in 14 weeks. The second call came 11 nights later. A man's voice, quieter, saying the same words in the same sequence, with the same pause before the thank you. He arrived at 12:17, a last-minute reservation under the name Hale. Daniel recognized the voice before the man had finished signing his card. Daniel pulled the system records for room 214 and began copying entries into a notebook. He didn't know what he was looking for. On Monday, he called the phone company. 2 technicians came Wednesday and left him a carbon copy confirming no fault detected in the hotel system. He had the handset in 214 replaced. New unit, manufacturer's wrap still on the cord. He noted the swap in the maintenance log. The next call came through on the new phone at 11:20 in a voice that belonged to a woman who had not yet checked in. He found a green ledger in the lost and found and began keeping a proper log, date, time, the guest's name, the voice's quality, the exact words. 6 entries now, 6 guests. Every arrival had landed within the same narrow window, never more than 12 minutes past midnight. He had started circling the 11 o'clock hour in his mind days before it arrived, the way a person circles a dental appointment. A 7th call came at 11:18, the voice belonging to an elderly woman who delivered extra towels, with a careful diction, as though reading from a card. She arrived at 12:09. She'd driven 5 hours because she told him something had told her she needed to get out of the house. He watched her cross the lobby, a small white-haired woman pulling a single bag, and felt something settle behind his ribs that he couldn't name. He brought the ledger to Bert. Bert skimmed 2 pages, closed it, and slid it back across the counter without comment. Take your days consecutive this week, Danny. The night shift does things to a man. Daniel drove home at 6 in the morning and sat at his kitchen table until noon, still in his coat, watching the light change on the wall. He started arriving 40 minutes early. He checked the cord on the room 214 handset each night before clocking in. He stopped sleeping in the break room between shifts. He stopped eating anything that required him to leave the front desk. Then, on a Thursday in January, the 17th call came, and something about the voice made him go still. The voice was his own. He recognized the flatness recordings give back, the slight nasal quality he'd always disliked, the way he over-enunciated the word arriving. He played it back twice, standing very still, before he found he could no longer hold the handset and set it carefully on the desk. He walked to the window that overlooked the parking lot. He counted 4 cars. He tried to remember if one of them was his. He searched his own name in the reservation system, in the maintenance log, in the incident reports. He found nothing connecting him to room 214. He had made no reservation. He had no intention of staying, and yet his voice was warm and unhurried, as though he already knew. He did not go to room 214, he was certain of that, or had been, until certainty began to mean something different. He remained at the desk, hands flat on the counter, and waited for something in the lobby to settle. The clock moved, the radiator ticked. Somewhere above him, a door shifted in its frame, and did not shift back. At some point, without deciding to, he had the handset in his hand again. He had meant to play the voicemail once more, to find the seam in it, the place where his voice and the recording came apart. But the voicemail light was dark. The line was live. He looked at the indicator panel beside the phone, the one the overnight manual described, but that he had never once seen illuminated. Room 214, active, outgoing. Someone in that room was speaking into a receiver right now. The words were traveling down the line, through the wall, through the building's old copper wiring, into the handset he was holding. He said nothing. He breathed as quietly as he could and listened. And then he heard it, not through the earpiece, but in the room around him, the way a voice sounds when it comes from your own throat. He was the one speaking, had been, apparently, for some time. He had been speaking calmly, unhurried, over-enunciating the word. Arriving, the way he always did when he was trying not to sound afraid. He did not remember walking to room 214. He did not remember the key in the lock, or lifting the phone from its cradle. But his voice remembered. It had been in that room for 17 minutes, leaving the message he had spent 3 months believing would arrive from somewhere else. Later, reviewing the security footage, he would find only one anomaly, a cut in the tape at 11:47 p.m., lasting less than a second. Enough time to not be somewhere. Not quite enough to explain it. In the footage before the cut, he is at the desk, looking at the window. In the footage after, he is at the desk, looking at the phone.